not prepared!
Welcome to another video, guys. Today I'm gonna give you my 10 predictions for cards that we might see nerfs for really soon. We did hear that we should be seeing the nerfs after the worlds are over, and that happens today. So we could get some information as soon as tomorrow, so this video is gonna have an incredibly short life, but let's see if we can actually manage to pinpoint the nerfs. Anyway, subscribe if you enjoy the channel, drop a like as well, and let me know in the comments what you think is gonna get nerfed, as well as what you think is gonna get buffed. The first card I really think needs to get nerfed is Morgue Artificer. Right now, this card is a part of so many problematic decks, including Hand Warlock, Owl Warlock, as well as Quest OTK Demon Hunter, for which we know Blizzard said they don't like these types of solitaire decks being this good. Morgue Artificer is definitely a centerpiece of all of those, and for OTK it's obviously one of your finisher cards, but for Warlock it is an extreme way for you to be able to clear so many different boards, which I just don't think is healthy for the game. We can see the class distribution, and it's basically Warlock all around with just a little bit of Demon Hunter, but the reason for that is the Demon Hunter OTK is just not that popular because the deck is not easy to pilot, whereas with Warlock anything goes. The way I think they're gonna nerf it is maybe giving it the Ilginat treatment, bumping it up to 4 mana and maybe making it a 2/6. In the end of the day, it's meant to be a nerf, so I don't think it should be receiving attack, because that's gonna make it into a very premium statted minion, but a 4 mana 2/6 with a huge effect like that, I think that's just gonna be fair. Even though that sounds like a lot of stats for a 4-drop, in the end of the day you just need a 3 damage spell, and you're gonna be able to cut it down easily, and it's gonna make all of those board-centric clears a lot more harder to pull off. Maybe they're gonna be a little more gentle with that one and just drop it down to 3 mana, but I'm not sure if that's actually gonna be enough, at least for the Warlock aspect of this card. Next up, we have the hero card Dredlich Damsen, which just does way too much for a 6 mana hero card. The thing about this card is it's actually safe for you to play it because not only you're gaining the 5 armor, but you're also dealing 3 damage AoE, which is huge. And not to mention you're drawing 3 cards as well. So that for 6 mana is just way too much, like way too much. I do believe this should be at least a 7 mana card, and that should make it feel a little bit more fair. Like, compared to the other hero cards, some costing at 9 just don't do as much as this one does. Like, maybe they do, but not in a synergistic way for the class at least. Whereas for Warlock, like, this is the dream. Like, drawing 3 cards, dealing 3 damage AoE, and also your hero power is not gonna deal damage anymore, like, say less. But yeah, bumping this to 7 mana feels like a good way to go for it. And again, this is a part of both Quest Hand Warlock and OTK Warlock, which are both pretty dominant on ladder. As you can see, the win rates are above 60% most of the time, like seriously. And the last card for Warlock, even though I'm not sure they're really gonna do it, because it's gonna be very scummy even for Blizzard standards, but Homunculus Owl might stop targeting face. This really would be a disgusting nerf, because this is just a measly common, so yeah, enjoy that 50 dust. But I'm not sure if the design team really thought this was gonna be such a game-breaking card combo. I'm not against having an entire archetype with Homunculus Owl like OTK Warlock, but this is just one of the ways that this can get nerfed. I really hope they don't. It's really gonna be bad, like only 50 dusts for an entire deck getting nerfed like that. That would be like literally destroying an entire archetype for the low price of 50 dusts. That would be just too much. So let's just hope this is not happening. Let's just hope this is all in my head. Moving down to another big offender, which is Iron Deep Trog. Obviously, Iron Deep Trog is way too good, like, it's doing way too much for just 1 mana. It's getting included in all kinds of decks, including paladins, hunters, druids, priests. And honestly, you can fit this into any deck and still feel decent about it, because it's a 1 mana 1/2 that probably is gonna get split up. Paladins are obviously mainly abusing this because they have all of the good buffs to go with it, but also hunters are having fun with it, as well as druids and priests. As you can see, if you play this on turn 1, you have a 60% chance of winning the game. And on turn 2, 3, and 4, it's basically the same, because you just don't have that much removal for a slightly buffed up Trog. There are 3 ways of nerfing this card. One would be to remain at 1 mana and make it a 1/1, which is gonna make it a lot easier to get removed on turn 1. With some of the hero powers we have, as well as a tempoed out minion, or even a very cheap spell. But I don't think I like this nerf too much. For me, I think it should get the Gibberling treatment. It should remain with the same stats and text and just go up to 2 mana, and it's still gonna be pretty good in Paladin, but it's just not gonna get so uniquely utilized by all other classes. So it should be reducing its popularity a bit. The other variant for this card to get nerfed would be to give it the Chain Gang treatment, so it's not gonna be summoning a copy, but another Iron Deep Trog instead. So if you buff this, and the opponent casts a spell, you're not gonna get a second buffed minion, but just another 1/2. Which is still pretty decent, it's still an extra body, and let's not forget it's still a freaking 1 mana rare card, so like how much more do we need from a 1 mana rare card? But yeah, definitely think this one is getting hit in one way or another. Moving down to another hero card, which is just doing way too much for way too little, the 7 mana Light Forced Carryall. This card is so good that people are actually holding it into their mulligans, going in first, and waiting 7 turns to actually play it. Again, this is such a safe card to play, with really no downside to doing it. For 7 mana you get the 5 armor, 2 damage to all enemies, basically a consecration, as well as slashing all of your opponent's damage to half with the immovable object. Also, the immovable object does not lose durability, because why the hell not? And you're slashing all of your damage to half, including spell damage, trading damage, and when they go face damage, which is really a lot. We're not even talking about the hero power, which is basically a 2 mana Blessing of Kings for your hand. But all around, 7 mana Light Forced Carryall, I don't think it should remain like that. It should be at least an 8 drop, like at least. Or maybe the immovable objects should stop, not lose durability. Cause having that weapon till the end of the game, as long as the opponent doesn't have a Viper, which nowadays everybody does, feels a little bit too OP as well. So I would be banking that this is gonna go up to 8 mana instead. Moving down to another new card, which is the Snowfall Guardian. Shaman has received a lot of cool new tools in the new expansion, including Snowfall Guardian, which is just huge. We're seeing different ways of actually abusing this even further with cards like Boner and Brilliant Macaw, so it's basically a 5 mana permafreeze for your opponent. And that might not be too healthy for a board-centric game. Sitting at only 5 mana and having 3/3 worth of stats, this is just better than a Frost Nova with a body attached to it. Like, if Frost Nova is 3 mana, you also have a 3 mana 3/3 next to it. And that's just the bare minimum, like, you're not gonna play this on an empty board, obviously. So this is always gonna be at least a 5/5. It really is a huge card, and something like at least 6 mana for it should feel a little bit better at least. It's obviously overtuned, and a little slap on the wrist would be a move in the right direction to say the least. It's not as offensive as some of these combo decks, but still, I do believe something like that should be happening here. Speaking of combo decks, let's check out Celestial Alignment, which is another deck that has a very high skill cap, but it's just insanely good if you know what you're doing with it. Literally everybody on Worlds brought a Celestial Alignment Druid, and the reason for that is it's just insanely stupidly OP. So I really think it's high time to bump this up to at least 8 mana. It's really good in Standard, and it's also pretty good in Wild as well. But sitting at 8 mana, that should give the opponent at least 1 extra turn to manage to close out the game, which a lot of the times happens even now. But it's really too oppressive for some of the other, not so fast decks. Next up, we gotta talk about Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior is stupidly good after the new expansion dropped, with literally no new cards included, like none, 0. And the more I look at the deck, there's no real card standing out being that much good than the others, other than the quest himself. We did see this cap into the quest Shaman quest, and I really think we should see something about Raid the Docks. Like, this is the best deck in Wild, and it's really too high in Standard as well for being an old deck. The bare minimum nerf here would be to make the second step also require 3 pirates played. But if we have to be completely honest, I think step 3 also needs to be playing 3 pirates. This is really gonna slow it down in Standard, whereas for Wild, it's probably not gonna slow it down that much because there's just a ton of 1-drop pirates in there. But yeah, an old deck remaining at 60% win rate with 0 new cards is just not good. Next up, let's talk about Garrett Rogue, which is again a deck everybody brought on Worlds, and is again a very hard deck to master, but once you do, it's just broken. Even after the Garrote nerf, things haven't changed that much. So now I think it's time to look at another big offender, Efficient Octobot. This card has been way too good for way too long, and I think it should either drop down to a 1/3 so you can have a lot easier time clearing this on turn 2 or 3, or bump it up to a 3 mana 1/4. In the end of the day, you're not playing this card for the stats, you're playing it for the effect, and slowing it down by a turn will be huge. Also making it harder for you to actually play it and ping it yourself at the same turn. Being able to discount so many cards so easily is just way too much much, so something should definitely be done here, and I do believe those are the two main courses of action. So we're gonna have to wait and see which one they take. If Octobot does survive the nerf, the next card in line should be Field Contact. But who knows, maybe they're just gonna swing at both of them. The main reason why Field Contact is so good is because of Octobot, if we have to be completely honest. But if they do not nerf Octobot, this guy should go at least to 4 mana. Right now we are seeing people playing this, shadow stepping it and playing it only for 1 mana next turn, whereas this is gonna be a 2 mana in that case. And it's not gonna leave him with that much potential to start thinning out their deck. Again, this is a very hard deck to master, but it's just too good in skilled hands, and it kinda is making a mockery of the world like that. And the last card on the list, I'm not really sure is gonna get touched, but Mr. Smite. Blizzard did say they are gonna be moving away from mechanics like charge, and then they print out this guy. Mr. Smite is a part of the Pirate Warrior quest, and also from an Encounter Druid, and you can also see him in Rogue, Paladin, and all sorts of decks. It's also one of the reasons why Celestial Druid can feel so unfair at times, because you can literally OTK your opponent with a huge Mr. Smite with a couple of Survival of the Fittest on it, and that just feels wrong. The thing is, if you bump this up to 7 mana, that's really not gonna change much for Alignment Druid, because it's basically gonna be 1 mana for you. But if you change this to your other pirates have charge, that would be a world of difference. Again, I'm not really sure this is a card they're gonna be touching just yet, but it's definitely on the radar, if not for now, for the future. So these are my nerf predictions, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about him and what you think should get nerfed as well. I'm not gonna go as far as to speculate what cards are getting buffed, but it's probably gonna be something with Honorable Kill, because they're just not seeing that much play so far. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it helpful. Drop a like if you liked it and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05 and I'll see you in my next video or stream.